Welcome, welcome, welcome to the live show. All right, everybody. It's time on Friday to ask your questions for how do I be funny? How do I let out my flirt? Also, if I have a problem with someone, what can I do to navigate this conflict? So bring your questions and let's go. The topic I want to start talking about right now is bum, 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 evaluation. Hey, Kirtana. So, the first topic I want to share on, if you got questions, drop your questions in there, and I'd love to answer and find out what you're wanting to know. So, I want to talk about a topic called evaluation, qualification, right? This is really important when it comes to creating a connection with someone that's going to last beyond nice to meet you, right? Why would someone actually continue to have a conversation and answer your text messages versus flake on you? And you don't have this and that connection, it's never going to go anywhere. You're going to just be looking at cricket, cricket, and thinking people keep ghosting me. What the WTF? So, why does this work? Think about this. If you're meeting somebody and enjoying connection with them, they're going to be asking questions in their mind like, why is this person talking to me? If you're such a cool person and you're talking to me, what do you want? Right? Like, why are we talking? And so, with that question in mind, this person is going to look at you and think that something's off, something's wrong. If you're just like, hey, yeah, it was fun talking to you. Let's get your number. I'd love to hang out with you sometime. And you're like, well, why? What do you want? So we need to answer this question, right? This person needs to have something in their mind. They need to have a moment where they made a decision to connect with you further. So what does that look like? Let me grab my other marker and I will speak to that. Because think about this. People that you're in your life, why do you talk to them? There's probably specific topics, the things that you love. That was weird. I just smelled the marker and it was like, oh, it's really intense. There's things that you love, like sniffing markers, that you're like, this person will sniff a marker with me. So if you're going to have people that around you that will do those things that you love, that's why you do more time with them, right? You evaluated this person to go, okay, we've got this in common. That's why I want to see you again. Most people will walk up to someone that they're attracted to and start a conversation, especially guys, and they'll just talk about innocuous random things like, oh, what do you do for work? Where are you from? Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, you're a nice person. I want to see you again sometime. But there's no context for it. And they haven't said really like, what is it that they love, right? You need to give them a little splash of your personality. They need to experience you, right? In order to invest time and energy in you, I need to know who you are. So instead of just asking me questions about me, I'm going to need you to put a little bit of you into that experience. So once someone's felt you and who you are, they're like, cool, I got to taste your personality. You seem like an interesting person. And next up is, well, let's for the sake of time, I'm going to go towards this one. You want to know why that person and you are going to connect. So this looks like asking simple questions like, where do you live? Right? Like, what do you do for fun? And I have my clients write this list down. So I want you guys take this time right now, write down a list. What are 5 things that you freaking love? Right? For me, I really love singing. I love gymnastics. I love talking about business, making money. Okay. I love talking about AI, right? I love talking about storytelling, like influence, human psychology. So I'm going to screen somebody to see if they love any of these topics, and if they do, woo, we found a connection. So when I'm meeting somebody, I meet them. I'm like, whoa, check this out. I'm appreciating what's around me, where we are in the place, right? Let's just say we're at the park, right? Oh my God, look at this freaking hill. I bet I can roll down this hill. This will be fun. I'm gonna go do some, take my shoes off, barefoot walking around this park. I'm enjoying myself. And then I get to this person next to me that maybe they watch me. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And I'm like, nice smile. I appreciate that. It's a good accoutrement to my movement. It's making a smile for me. So thank you for this. You're smiling back again when I'm talking to you. That makes me think you're a friendly person. I want to meet you. My name's Keegan. What's yours? Boom. They felt a little bit of my presence. I made an introduction. I may go right back into like, wow, I've been in my computer for hours. I want to just enjoy being in nature right now. It feels really great. I'm celebrating this day right now. And this person, I'm going to look at them. How do they respond to this? Right? This is listening. A lot of people train what to say. We also want to train how to listen. So before I can evaluate this person, I need to understand who are they. And so based off the clothes they're wearing, based off the tone of voice they have when they respond to me, I'm going to get that feedback. And I could say, let's say the person, they just kind of like give a little smirk and go back to their book or whatever they're up to. I can be like, seems like you're really focused on something right now. Right? I can make that observation about, like, I'm making an assumption about what I think is going on in their world. What are you reading over there? It must be important. Distract you from this nature, from this barefootedness. Oh, it's a book about, whatever they say, right? Now they're giving you more information to understand, and then I can talk about that. Like, wow, do you ever read books on influence psychology? Right? Boom, I'm already into evaluation, discovering, is this someone that I would get along with? Oh, you do. That's really cool. Yeah. Have you heard of this book? Have you heard of this book? Right? Now, I'm building up a reason that we would want to communicate again in the future. And they say, yes, yeah, I do. I love that book. That sounds fascinating. Wow. Okay. The Untethered Soul. Oh, Man's Search for Meaning. Grit. Oh, shit. These are great books. That's so cool. Talking about those topics. It's like, okay, I didn't know if I would like you when I first met you. And now you're kind of interesting. I'm intrigued. I want to see you again sometime. Right? Now you've got a basis, a reason for why talk to that person. Right? So list what you love. Screen people with those things. Another way to do this is also to disqualify, right? So you've got qualify. You also want to add in moments of disqualification. What is disqualification? Disqualification is where I'm going to say, you know what, this is not going to work out between us. What? It's not going to work out. Oh, I'm pushing you away. Like, another fun thing to do is to have idea of game with someone where, this is really funny. Imagine you're a sex addict that has just recovered and you're resisting your urges to be with that person, right? So if that's the case, then I can meet you and be like, oh my God, stop doing that. It's turning me on. You need to stop. You're being too cute right now. It's too much. They're going to be like giggly. Oh my God, what? And now you're pushing the person away. Like, don't do that. No. And that creates more intrigue. It's a more emotional spike. Whoa, right? And that is memorable. That person's going to go back afterwards and go, that person was interesting, right? So disqualification is like, we would not be good together. You and I would never work out. I would destroy you. in chess, you're pushing that person away from you, and that's creating a lot of uh, that person being able to feel safe, because it's like, oh, you're not trying to get something from me, you're actually pushing me away, right? One of the great lines for this: have you ever had a great conversation with somebody and then they disappear? You message them and they just don't respond, and you're like, fuck, we had such a great, like, emotionally strong conversation, and then they're not even responding anymore. If that's the case, what you want to be aware of is that they never made a decision to enjoy you. What do you do then? How do I get that person to do that? One example is something like you're in the middle of a conversation on a high note when they're enjoying you. You're like, by the way, you can go if you want. I don't want to hold you up. If you've got friends you got to go back to. In that moment, if they're already enjoying it, they're going to now say to themselves and you, no, I'm cool. I want to stay. I'm enjoying this. That's now an imprint on their mind. So when you would get numbers and they would look at your text in the future, they're going to have that moment in their brain of like, oh no, I said that I wanted to stay and I like this person, right? It's really powerful. So another way to say this is you're having a conversation, the person asks you a question or they smile at you. It's a good smile, right? You can be like, oh, you're interested in me, or you like me. I appreciate that. So yeah, where I'm from, I grew up, in New York. So boom, I go right into the conversation. I make this statement, and if they don't refute it, like, no, 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 then they are agreeing, like, yes, that's true. So that's another moment in their brain now that they have decided, I like you, I want to keep talking to you. If this is making sense to you, put that in the comments. In the so Pablo, welcome, my friend. Please write a question in the chat right now of what you want around becoming more funny, how to flirt, navigating conflict. What would be something that you're thinking of that we can answer here? So now that person has made a decision to enjoy staying with you, Rafa, and as you disqualified the person, right? You've pushed them away. Like, you can go back to your friends if you want. I know that, I don't want to interrupt you from your friends. When the person says in that moment, like, no, no, I'm enjoying this conversation, I want to stay, the decision in their brain is going to create far more desire to stay with you and enjoy the connection with you rather than walk away. Now they're not going to flake on you when you text them later and you want to reconnect. That's the evaluation piece I wanted to bring to you. So next up, I want to talk about navigating conflict. Unless A Tropical Sol wants to share a question about becoming more funny. What do you want more with your social life? Let's go to conflict. So conflict itself comes from a frame battle, right? It comes from someone believing something is true, someone believing something else, and someone wanting to be right. If you are trying to take it personal and be hurt and influenced by someone's words, then you're going to feel suffering. You're going to feel pain. So there's this really great book I highly recommend called The Untethered Soul. It talks about, in Sanskrit, there's a word called samskara, right? It represents impression. So on your psyche, everything you're taking in, from a video on your phone to the food you're looking at, right, to the person that walks by, they're all impressions from the world onto your psyche. And we don't want to allow those impressions to last that are toxic. So when something happens that pisses you off, right, some kind of conflict happens, if you take it personal and then you're like, oh, I can't believe this person was like talking to me like that. Like, how dare they? They don't understand me. They were being mean. They're being rude. In that moment, I'm like bitter about this person and I'm ruminating on it. I'm continuing that impression, and that's like flavoring my mood. It's flavoring like my lens or outlook on the life. So the next people I meet, I'm going to be looking at them and feeling more frustration even towards them, but indirectly, right? They're not going to get the open-hearted, kind, creative person that you really are. You've limited those resources when you're like concentrated here. What do we do in that situation, right? Conflict has happened. We'll talk about in the moment conflict, and we'll talk about how do you handle when you're ruminating right now. What we want to do is, what I love, this is a question that you can really ask yourself all the time. It's like, my interpretation of what happened, right? Is this true? Like, is what's being presented to me, is it actually true? If it does feel true to you, then that's far greater of like a awareness to look deeper into than if it's not true, right? So let's give an example. Let's give an example like I could use this experience I had yesterday. This guy is telling me, hey, you're crossing a boundary with women around you, and your neediness is irksome to me. And I was just like, what? What's going on right now? Don't get me wrong, I love a good stage. I love attention. At the same time, if someone expresses a boundary, I'm like, amazing, welcome. And I realized the woman that I was talking to was someone he wanted to talk to. And so I'm like, oh, I see this. He's really just projecting all of his insecurities and frustrations onto me, because I've heard from other people. He also has done this with 2 other people, of physically attacking them or verbally attacking them as if they are crossing boundaries, and him being someone that's this like hyper aggressive. He did the same to me. He even grabbed me and was squeezing me while he's telling me this stuff. And I'm just like, you need to let go of my arm before I fucking punch you in the face or talk with love. And so that was really, for me, like, let's establish a boundary and then let's reopen. So who the hell? Welcome. So when I want to talk about how do I navigate that conflict, that moment that I have in my mind of like, okay, this person's attacking me. This person is verbally abusing me. And do I want to like apologize for myself as if I'm wrong? No, I don't believe that was what was happening. In that moment, what's going on is, can you express more, right? I opened up my heart and said, can I have an open heart? This book, The Untethered Soul, talks about, can I have an open heart even in the midst of moments of like this kind of conflict? I said that out loud, like, hey, right now I'm responding with anger and aggression towards you because you're giving me that, and I want to let that go. I want to have an open heart and feel love for you and everybody. So can you express yourself in another way, in a constructive way, so that we can move forward amicably, right? He was not capable. Basically, he just wanted me to go away so that he could protect the woman that he was like, wanting. And where am I at right now? So I opened up my heart. I connected from my heart to talk to him in this moment. I'm feeling some shyness as I'm trying to navigate where am I going next with this. This is my first time teaching this topic on this very recent trigger. So I ruminated because I had a fear of like, what is this person going to do? He seems like a toxic individual that would come and destroy my business, or like make public posts or do like reviews on Google or something, try to like publicly like shame me just out of like bitterness. And I was like, wow, this is fascinating. That's this world of when you meet women that are like extremely gorgeous, they draw in these kinds of chaotic situations where men are like, like, like drawn into this like aggressive, like protective state, like don't fucking take my girl, right? And that was very fascinating. Uh, Essentially, when you become more powerful, you're gonna have haters. So I was like, I got a hater, and therefore I'm a threat to the people that, right, don't have that level of confidence themselves to protect their connection with the person. So that's something that's really important when you're in a relationship. If you don't feel confident that your woman is going to be loyal and honor you, and so you have to like threaten people or check your phone, right, or never let them go out without you, kind of things, you're in trouble. Like that means we really need to do some deeper healing work on your heart in order to find a place of safety inside yourself to enjoy that that trust, because then that person is going to feel far more excited to be around you versus like scared and doing things out of like obligation versus excitement. So how do I handle the rumination, right? Because I come home and I'm just like, this motherfucker, like I just want to like I had to like literally tell him like, look, I sense that you're projecting a lot onto me because everything you're saying is like where's your proof? What's the specific actions that were like a boundary crossing? Help me understand this so that I can grow as an individual. Like I said this, I was like, if this is the truth, then I want to grow. I want to learn so I can shift. So let me know what the exact example is. Otherwise, you're just projecting your ideas onto me, and I can't do anything with that. So I'm just gonna let this go in one ear and out the other ear. And he refused. Tries to hide under the guise of like, I don't want to give these people away. And I'm like, I danced with 3 girls. Every single one of them, we walked away from each other like this and a smile on the face and smiles during the dance. So I can only imagine that if one of them had said something to you, they were reporting Keegan as a predator or problem, then I'm like, I don't believe it. There's one really powerful thing. You want to establish how you see the world. And if you hold that frame, and this is where this conflict comes in, this frame battle happens, someone else is trying to say, this is how it is. And then I'm over here like, no, this is how it is. If you're blind and like you become super narcissistic where you're like, no, this is just the way it is. It's only this way. And you're not open to feedback in order to like, if something is incorrect, you're like, oh, you're right. Actually, it's like this. Okay, I see that. Right. And then you're going to be someone that constantly pushes people away. So I try to practice consciously designing my own frame and then being open to hear somebody else and what's going on in order to like find the honest moment, right? And it's important that if you have a frame of reality that you believe is true, someone else says something, it can really sway you, right? Like if you imagine this, you're walking down the street, you're gonna go to the movies, you're like, oh, this movie I've never seen, right? You walk by someone that's coming out of the movie and they're just like, man, that movie totally, like you could have been really excited, like, all right, I haven't seen this movie yet, it's gonna be cool. Deadpool, Wolverine's coming out. You're like, it's gonna be so good, I'm so excited. And then someone else walks by and they're like, man, that movie totally sucked. I can't believe they like didn't carry the storyline through. The writing was just weak. Like it was really a letdown. I thought it would be so much better. You're gonna go into that movie now, and your lens is going to be slightly affected by that, where you may look at the movie and go, oh, yeah, you know what? Yeah, the writing is actually not as good as it could have been, right? Whereas if somebody else walked by and they were like, that was the best movie I've ever seen. I'm going to go back again. I'm going to get another ticket. You're going to walk by that person going into the movie and be enthusiastic. Like, oh, here we go, right? We can easily be influenced by somebody else's perspective towards our frame of reality. So it's imperative that you consciously are aware of what is your frame and what am I taking on from other people, right? So what is your frame of what's happening? Welcome, Kevin. If you've got any questions, please, I'd love to hear your questions. I could also bring you on live and answer them like that. So this frame battle, that is what people are doing in order to create the conflict. If I'm aware of what I believe is true in this moment, and this other person is also aware what they believe is true in this moment, then we're going to have to find some middle ground where this blends. Otherwise, this person's going to you're gonna bounce off each other, right? Essentially, whoever has the more conviction and belief in what they're seeing as the truth of the moment, that frame like consumes the other frame. So if I'm walking into a conversation with a group of people at the park, right, and if they're enjoying themselves, having fun, and then I come in and I'm like, hey guys, how's it going? What are you guys doing over here? Having fun? Their frame of like, wow, this is so incredible, this is so great, and mine of like, can I join you? It's this like, this like leeching kind of like needy side, right? And they're gonna feel like we have to like pick you up in order to put you into our group, rather than the person who has a frame of like, wow, everything's amazing, I want to add something to it, right? With generous gorillas, that's what my conscious intention is like, wow, if I come from a place of generosity when I meet people, then I'm adding something to the vibe, right? I'm including something. A great mantra to have for this is check this out, right? This is really fun. So anytime I go up and meet someone, instead of like, hey, what are you doing? I know they're doing something. I want to come over to that and be like, whoa, check this out, and add something to it. By doing that, there's a collaboration versus a leeching, right? So that's where you're going to create a frame that evolves and holds all of you together. So let's connect this idea to evaluation. So I talked already about how do I evaluate if I want to meet someone and have the conversation go beyond the first meeting where they're actually not going to flake, they're going to answer my text and connect to me. I need to make sure that I've qualified them on things that I love in my life. Like, hey, do you like to sing? Yes, no. Do you love to dance? Yes, no. Where do you live? I want to know if you live close to me so we can meet. Otherwise, I'm not in, right? I've qualified this person. And then I want to use frame awareness, frame control to establish what's possible, right? One of the ways to do this is I want you to think about, how do I plant the seed of a future meeting? If a person never sees themselves in the future with you, then they won't be in the future with you, right? So you need to just casually in conversation plant this seed, and you'll see it's not just a future projection creating memory. It's also a calibration to see if this person sees value in you and is resonating with you. For example, we're enjoying a conversation and I'm just like, oh, wow, okay, do you live in Rhino? That's like close to me. I know an amazing place in Rhino to get boba tea. We should go sometime. Boom. I just thrown this idea of us in a future date doing something together, and I'm watching. Is this person like, yeah, that sounds fun? They're seeing value, they're enjoying it. They're like, maybe, yeah, it could happen. That person is obviously not enrolled in you providing value to their life. They're not invested emotionally and mentally in you in their life, which means, okay, cool. I need to continue sharing my personality, what I love, finding out what this person loves, and find those commonalities so that we can then have like that moment of like, oh, what? You love Deadpool too? Yes. We're going to have so much fun going to that movie together, right? Like now you've got something in common that's gonna spike the emotions for the two of you to want to see each other again. So you create that value. Then you again would plant that seed. So just so you know, that boba place is packed on the weekends. It's a really great energy. There's a lot of people there. So there's also live music. So that's probably the best time to go. Yeah. Like this weekend, actually. I want to go this weekend. Are you open? That is now going to be more received because the person's like, yeah, I am, if they're free that weekend. They're going to be like, clicked on commonalities. They've been qualified. They've experienced your personality and enjoyed who you are. This is going to help plant the seed of a future memory where the two of you together. You want to do this again and again with different things, right? Even if you've met a woman and it's been like 30 minutes and enjoying each other, you can go on an instant date, right? You could say that and they'd be like, what are you doing right this moment? Let's go for boba right now. Yeah. Let's go. Cool. Boom. Boom. Da, 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 da. Huh. Now, there's something else that's missing from here. Any guesses? Investment. Investment is incredibly important for a person to want to have buyer's remorse. I'm sorry. For them not to want to abandon what they've already invested, right? For example, people will fight a lot more to not to lose what they have already rather than go and get something new. Even if that something new is far greater for them. The emotional load, the cognitive load of letting go of something is far greater of like a pain for people that they don't want to experience than the joy that they could have from getting something that's more valuable than what they already have. This is why people, or what do I want to say? People have this. So what I want you to be aware of is if people are going to fight more for what they've already got, how do I get the person that I'm talking to invest time and energy into us so that they don't want to lose me? Emotions and mental energy. These are your two resources. How do I get a person to invest in me? Well, you're asking topics, you're asking questions. Lee, welcome. So if I want to get someone to invest in me, you're asking questions that are going to spike emotions, and they're also going to make them mentally process something that you've said, right? For example, if we're in the middle of talking and it's like, part of me loves you and part of me is not so sure. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Is going to create more involvement, more curiosity, right? Something as simple as dopamine spikes. It's really great ways to create suspense with people, right? You say like, oh my God, I got to tell you the story. It's the most crazy thing. You're probably not even going to believe what happened. Right? Well, okay, what happened, right? Now I'm interested, right? Haha, dancing the salsa. Dun, 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 dun. I'm ready, brother. I'd love to. That's a great idea. How does this salsa dance? I love you too. I miss you, bro. How do you turn the salsa dance into your emotional, connection with the person you're talking to? Think about this. When you're talking to somebody, it's like the conversation has one rhythm, one beat. But we want to have accents like the flair in order to have like ooh, right? So you want to be like whoa, and then the people have an emotional buying temperature of like I want, right? They're gonna take action, right? Kiss you, make it rain money, right? So here's their buying temperature. It's like whoop, oh, okay. Whoop, oh, okay. Whoop. Credit card. Pants off. So we want to keep spiking the emotions here, and things like I hate you. What? Why? What happened here? Things like establishing your opinion. Like if you're talking to somebody and you don't believe what they're saying, One of the really fun games I'll play with my students is called That's a Lie. So while talking to someone, they can be playing. What you're going to do is like someone says, keep dancing salsa. Like, I love salsa. It's like, that's a lie. You don't actually love salsa. What you really love is you love connection with people and being able to have physical connection. Oh, okay. Well, actually, that's true. I do love that, right? The person would hear your opinion, and that spike, that's a lie, is really like charged, right? And whether it's true or not, you can still say with a smirk on your face that that's a lie. You don't love salsa dancing. You just enjoy being able to be close to somebody and being sensual. Like, the person can go, haha, I like the salsa, but I do like that too, right? That's going to create the fun as well. So play this game with yourself and with your friends. Just have someone say 3 or 4 sentences, and then you're going to say, that's a lie, and add 3 or 4 sentences to validate what your belief is on that situation. Doesn't even have to be true. It doesn't even have to make sense as you play the game. The game's purpose is to help you build this level of conviction and certainty in what you're talking about, so that while you're speaking to it, the person listening would go, huh, that might be true, actually, right? Now you just established a frame, and this person can now step into it, and now they're investing themselves in you and your world, because they're going to be thinking about it and feeling emotions in that moment far more than they would have if you're just like, where are you from? Oh, cool. I love that. Yeah. What do you do? Oh, cool. Yeah, I like that. Do you like it? And the conversation never has the spike. It's just we don't like this. We want something different. So if you want to get people invested in you, we need social capital. What is social capital? It's value. Do you represent value in this person's eyes, right? Whether it's social status or education, like wisdom. Do you have something that they want to know, right? I got my incredible salsa teacher here with me, so I see him as valuable, and I want to know what he's got. So I'm more willing to listen to what he's going to say because I want to learn from him, right? So that's going to create more of an investment on my part to listen to him because of that. So if you want to get people to invest, you need social capital, which means value. And then you can do like levels of compliance, levels of investment, right? If you just tell someone right away from meeting them, like, hey, let's go over there to talk more privately, and you walk across the venue, it's a big move. So you need a certain level of social capital to make that move. So if you don't have that yet, because you just met, you want to start smaller, something as simple as like, hey, turn this way for a minute. Awesome. But now they turn away from their friends and they're just talking to you. It's one smaller step. And once they've said yes, the yes ladder develops, and the person can enjoy more and more levels of trust and investing in you as you go along the conversation, right? The more you do this investment, the more they're bought into you. The more that you show them your personality, the more that the person can see themselves being with you, and they're fascinated by that because they already know about themselves. It's boring. They talk about it already. So learning about you and what you're up to, it's something that they can think, does that add to my life? That's the value, right? And then you evaluate this person to understand, do we really get along beyond just looks? Is there something that makes sense for us to connect again? Or is it just for sex, right? Or do you just want my money? Do you really care about me? So add all of these steps in, share your personality, get people to emotionally invest in you by being mysterious, by having them do small steps of compliance with you, and then ask them questions based off what you're really valuing. After doing all of this, then when you'd make that close, when you'd say, hey, let's schedule a sales call, let's make a deal, hey, let's go on a date, let's get together sometime, it's going to be far more reliable and likely to happen at that point. All right, that's what we have time for today, gang. Thanks for sharing your questions. I didn't get any questions today. I got some love. So I just share what I know. So if this is valuable, share with a friend, give it a like, and I'll see you guys next time.